Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association. Missouri produces wood pallets, railroad ties, white oak barrels, hardwood floors, and more. Details on the variety of products made in the state are at choosewood.com.
We hope you enjoy listening to this podcast of St. Louis on the Air, brought to you by University College at Washington University. With undergraduate and graduate programs, part-time, evening, and online. University College at Washington University, offering world-class education within reach.
Welcome to St. Louis on the Air. I'm Don Marsh. The sport of fencing may not command the kind of attention or overall public interest as some others, but the sport is attracting fencers from around the country to compete in the National Fencing Championships right here in St. Louis. With me in studio are two young nationally ranked athletes from St. Louis who will compete. Daena Talavera, two-time national champion. She's 13 years old. Bogdan Hamilton is a national medalist. He's 14. Hossam Hassan is head coach at the Fencers Academy here. Thank you all so much for being with us. Great to have you.
Thanks.
Well, we want to make sure that people understand, Hossam, what we're talking about. We're not talking about sword fighting.
No, we are not talking about sword fighting. We're talking about the Olympic sport of fencing, which is we are using modern equipment. So we teach the kids or the students how to use these swords to touch your opponent instead of killing like before. So
I guess the movies and television, to some extent, have kind of distorted in the minds of some people what fencing really is.
Yeah, I think there's so many movies they show fencing as a Olympic sport, and some others, like for example Troy, they show fencing as a
pirates and that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean and stuff like.
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
You're fighting with a sword. Yeah.
Daena, how did you get into it?
When I was younger, like 4 or 5, I didn't like any sports. Like I tried soccer, swimming, gymnastics, you name it. And then my dad found this fencing club, and he's like, "Oh, we'll try it out." And he he started me with a class for my birthday, and I liked it ever since. So.
Bogdan, how about you?
Well, in first grade, I was just a kid with a lot of spare time, and there was a fencing clinic after school. So I decided to try it out, and it stuck with me ever since.
What do these two youngsters have that makes them special in this sport?
Determination and their instinct to work hard every time they come to the club. So they have goals to be good in their sport. When they come to the club, they work hard, take private lessons and fence. So that's what it takes them to be good.
Bogdan, how much practice time do you have to stay good?
Well, you need to definitely put in a lot of work. I personally go about 5 times a week for 2 or 3 hours each day.
Right. How about you, Dan?
Yeah, I go 4 to 5 times a week for about 3 hours. Yeah.
Right. Is it a sport?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Any question in your mind, Bogdan or Hassan, that this is not a sport?
No, it's a very good sport, and it seems when they are moving on the strip, they are not moving so much, but actually the position they are doing, like in en garde and moving advance and retreat and lunge, especially using the anaerobic endurance, so it is really tiring, and it's a good workout.
Do you have to work out in other ways, Bogdan? I'll put this to you. Work out in other ways to stay in shape so that you're fit for actually fencing.
Yeah, just fencing won't keep you in the way you want to be good at fencing. So you might want to do like swimming, which is good for everything, or like squash, which is good for your wrist and being quick. So that's like cross training.
Daena, what do you do?
Normally I'll maybe once or twice a week I'll go to the gym, and that really helps, especially with endurance training. I do a lot of running, and you really need to work out in order to be good for fencing. Yeah.
I was told somewhere that there may be more than 1,000 people coming in for these championships. Mm-hmm. I was wondering about that number. It seems like an awful lot to me. Is that right?
Yeah.
Actually, it's more than that.
Really?
Yeah, it's around 5,000 fencers will be coming to this tournament.
5,000.
Yes, 5,000. It's it's 10 days with several events per day, and each event got like around from 150 to 200 or 300 participants from United States and outside. So it's going to make around this number.
How is the competition structured? In other words, is it one-on-one? It would pretty much have to be, I guess,
Yes.
and just whittle down the number until two people are left at the end?
Yeah, the tournaments are in age groups and grades, like under 10 years old, 12, 14, 17, and 20. And then in the veterans part, which is 40 to 50, 50 to 60, 60 to 70, and over 70, and Division 1, Division 2, Division 3. So in each event, men and women and 3 weapons.
3 weapons.
3 weapons. So that's why it's big number. 3 weapons, women and men, different. They don't face each other. So it's separated. So when they start the tournament, they divide each event to groups of fencers. We call it pools. And after the round of pools, they seed the fencers from one to the end, and then they make direct elimination, and it keeps going down until the first place.
You say there are 3 weapons.
Yes, foil. Yeah.
Okay, you explain it, please.
So the 3 weapons are foil, épée, and saber. Those are 3 different weapons. Each one got a different target. In foil, it's the torso, and you can only use the tip to touch. The saber is the upper body, including arms, head, and torso, and you can touch by stabbing or cut. In épée, it's the whole body is the target, and you can touch only by stabbing or by thrust.
I see. Daena, do you do all 3?
No, I just do foil.
Really? Mm-hmm. How about you, Bogdan?
Just foil.
Why not the other 2?
Well, I personally like foil the most because I find it the most challenging, since you have a limited amount of target area, and you're also you have to be very precise in foil, because even the slightest bit off your target could land to a off target, which isn't a point. And of course, you want to be the first to score. Essentially. So you need to be able to get those points. So it's really challenging.
Go ahead, Hassan.
So it's very important to explain that the 3 weapons have different rules. The right of way rules, and in épée it's priority who touch first. That makes technique, and the technique in the 3 weapons are different when you teach them, and the reaction of the fencers will be vary among all these weapons. So if you're doing foil, you need to be careful about the parries or blocking the attacks for the priority. In saber, you can block and you can make counter attack. In épée, you don't have any of these. Who touch first will get the point. So since fencing is a mental, physical sports, so training the kids, it's very easy to train them for 1 weapon, not for 3.
Bogdan, as Hossam has just indicated, it's a mental sport. I've heard it compared to chess, and maybe one of you has been quoted on that. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah.
And how so, then?
If you ask any fencer, they could say it's physical chess, because the chess part is that you have to think about it. You have to think if you want to go back or forward or attack or be more passive. And then the physical part is enacting that. So actually having the speed or the quickness to go back and hitting your opponent before they can react.
Daena, who is keeping score, and how do they do that?
Oh, at national tournaments, they have a referee. And normally we have a score box, and so like whoever gets the point, their light will go off. And so
their light will go off. Explain what light are we talking about?
So we have the score box, and like we have foils, and at the tip of the foil we have like a little button, and and like when you hit the target, it'll go off. And so that'll send a current that goes through a system. Since you're wearing a wire which connects to your sword, which connects to a reel, which connects to the machine. And so that triggers it to make the light go off.
Well, you just said it connects to your sword.
Yeah, so we have something called a body cord, and we plug it into our swords. And yeah.
I thought we weren't going to call it a sword.
Well,
it is, it's foil, and saber. Sword is for the real ones. So as she said, fencing nowadays it's electronically judging. It's not like before by vision. It's electronically. So all this equipment provided with electricity, and you can hit the target and score point with sound and light.
Bogdan, how do you know when a person has won or not? Is it a question of placement? I mean, if you hit someone in the heart, does that mean the game's over?
No. So, for example, in foil, like we said, the whole torso is a target. So if you hit the torso and you follow the rules and it's yours, then you get 1 point. And so in fencing, in a tournament, there are 2 rounds. The first round goes to 5 points, so first one to get 5 points wins. And then the second round goes to 15, so either the first one to 15 wins or whoever has the most points after the time runs out.
Daena, do young men and young women fight against each other or compete against each other?
No, it's just they're separated in genders. But yeah, young men fence young men, and vice versa. Yeah.
Okay, so you indicate they're Hossam, that they're broken down into age groups. So you're not going to have an adult facing a much younger person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for example, in Division 1 or Division 2 or 3, here we're senior fence juniors. In the designated age groups, each group fence on their age. But in the open tournament, which is you have to be 13 years or above, you can fence 70 years old, like 13.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you can fence him in the Division 1 or Division 2 or Division 3.
Bogdan, have you been in that situation? You're just barely old enough to qualify for that, but have you competed against older, larger people?
Yeah, I have. In like another age group called seniors, where almost anyone can fence. I fenced a veteran before who has a different style. Like they're quicker with their hand, but they're not as fast with their legs, so it's a different challenge.
And how did you do?
Well, in that particular one, I won, but older fencers aren't necessarily worse. It's kind of who has the most practice and the most skill. Yeah.
Did you want to say something, Hassan? You look like you were getting ready to say something.
No, he's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask Daena the same question about facing someone who is older. You're 13 now, is that correct?
13.
So you're just at that point where you could compete this way.
Mm-hmm.
Have you done it?
Yeah, many times. Yeah.
Well, tell me about it.
It's just like he said. Older fencers have a different style than us. They move in a different way, and it's just about figuring out how they move in order to best them in a sense, but they still are extremely good. Yes.
Both of you have won competitions and have done very, very well, obviously. Daena, I'll start with you. Tell me what it is that the highest achievement that you've had and how you got there.
Highest achievement? Well, I've won 2 national events. I've gotten
in a competition like the one coming up.
Yeah. And I've gotten there through loads of practice and help with my coach, of course.
Bogdan, how about you?
My best result is probably getting second at a national championship, just like this. And I got there by hard work and coming to fencing every day with coach.
How many people would you have had to have defeated in order to win a title?
Well, overall, there's probably at least 150 people, but that doesn't mean you fence all 150. So in the first round, you usually fence about 6, and then to get all the way to the finals, you'd have to fence somewhere around 6 DE bouts, which is to 15.
Same for you, Daena.
Yep.
No doubt. Man, how long do these matches take?
So the direct elimination. Let's start with pools. The pool bouts are they last 3 minutes, and they're 5 touches, And the direct elimination bouts, they're divided into 3 periods of 3 minutes, and you can score as much touches as you can. Or you you go to 15 in the middle of one of those periods, and then, yeah.
How many times a day would you likely be doing that? Just once or several times a day?
Several times several times. Wait, like how many events? Yeah. You normally only fence 1 event per day, but some people do fence 2. So, yeah.
Hossam, how do you get them ready for a competition like this?
So before this tournament like that, we have to do some camps, and because this is the summer nationals, it comes after the school ends. So we do preparation period for physical fitness, and then fencing camps here in St. Louis, and after that they travel to outside of St. Louis, participate in other camps to get ready for a tournament like that.
Is there international competition?
There are some international competition. Bogdan, he went several times, and Daena also, she went several of them. She went to Singapore, she won tournament there. Bogdan went to European circuit for cadet, which is 17 and under, and he fenced well. I went with him several times.
Daena, when you're competing overseas, are the people from other countries, do they fence differently? Are there different styles of fencing?
Oh, yeah, definitely. They all have different styles depending on where they come from.
How might they be different? Can you describe
the
it?
Italians, they're more like concentrated, at least in women's foil, on footwork. And so they move very light on their feet. And so they're great at getting out of tough situations by just using footwork.
So, Bogdan, it requires some study. If you're going overseas, you have to really know what you're getting into in terms of how those other people defend themselves or attack.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that very time consuming? Do you use videotape, for instance, or how do you do that?
Well, in higher competitions, you might want to use videotapes, but at the very minimum, you get there and you see others fencing, and you kind of make a game plan for if you fence them in the future.
Same way, Daena?
Mm-hmm.
Daena? You got started in Egypt, I assume, Hossam.
Yeah.
So is that a popular sport in other parts of the world? It must be in Egypt, I'm assuming that.
Yeah, we in Egypt we have several clubs in Egypt doing fencing. I started in my school with my coach. His name is Yahya Saleh. After that I went to the fencing club, and then I continued in the university, and I joined the national team. I started to be international fencer, and then after that I took some courses. I become a coach, and then I reached to be coaching the national team, and then I moved here to St. Louis.
Well, welcome to St. Louis. What country, in what country is fencing most popular, would you say?
Mostly in Europe, but nowadays United States is number 1 in foil, men and women, which is amazing. It wasn't like that before, so now the United States is number 1 in foil, but some other countries are good in other weapons, like Hungary is good in saber, and yeah.
But 5,000 people coming to St. Louis to compete, that's something else. What's your hope for the competition, Bogdan? To win, right?
Yeah, of course. But mainly for the under 14, that's the main event that I'm focusing on. Top 4 would be great, so I'm trying to train and get ready for that.
Good luck to you there.
Thank you.
Daena, how about you?
Yeah, in the same case for me. For the under 14, I'm definitely trying to get on the podium. But for the other events, I just kind of want to see how it goes.
And if you win, what do you get? A belt?
A medal, sometimes a trophy, but yeah, medals.
Well, good luck to all of you. Best of luck.
I want to add one thing.
Very, very quickly.
Here, in order to have a good fencing in St. Louis, we need to, add more fencers to the community. And in this tournament, actually, we have some fencing demos in the Kinner Plaza, and we are offering there some
I have to stop. We'll put the information on our website so people can get to it. Thank you so much. It's been great talking to you guys. Archive versions of past St. Louis On the Air programs available for download or podcast at stlpublicradio.org/STL On Air. St. Louis On the Air is a production of St. Louis Public Radio, 90.7 KWMU. Thanks for listening. I'm Don Marsh.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, providing more than 41,000 jobs in the production of wood pallets, railroad ties, white oak barrels, hardwood floors, and more. Details at choosewood.com.